Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Spirit Guide message and energy transmission. And happy March! Oh my gosh, I cannot believe we are already entering the last quarter of the year. I'm sorry, we're entering at the end of the first quarter of the year of 2021, and it's been incredible how fast time flies. And so it's beginning of spring here in the Northern Hemisphere. And if you are like me, spring tends to be my favorite season because it's when everything is blossoming. And, I live in California, so it's kind of hard to know or to really appreciate the beginning of spring because it always feels like either summer or spring here. But nonetheless, it's really that time when you just feel like you're awakening. You feel, you look outside and the trees are beginning to leaf again and the baby birds are starting to be born. There's so much movement, in nature. And I really feel like that even for myself. I just feel this sense of awakening. So, happy March. Today for this week, I actually want to focus on a topic that has been coming a lot to my mind this week, and that has to do with, disappointment, and has to do with what happens when you are working so hard to make something happen. You have a goal or you have a dream, and either it's taking too long to see any results from your work, or you may be feeling kind of like, you made an intention, you set an intention, you worked towards something, and then something else showed up. And not exactly what he wanted, still good, but not exactly what he wanted. Or when, you start to feel this sense of like, I'm not doing enough. I have all these dreams, I have all these goals, I see myself and, moving toward this specific thing, and things feel like they're stuck, and you can't seem to break through, and you feel disappointed. So, I've been kind of feeling this way, these past weeks. The sense of kind of like, I really wanted this particular thing to happen, and it didn't. Maybe I'm taking a detour, I don't know, but it didn't happen. Something else amazing happened, and yet I'm sitting with this sense of kind of like, that's great that this other thing happened, and yet I wanted this other thing to happen. And really sitting with, the sense of disappointment of not having what I wanted happen to happen, and also sitting with the guilt of feeling kind of like, well, this other thing happened that was really good. Why am I not feeling all the sense of gratitude for that? And so there's this guilt that also happens of like, I really should be feeling grateful, or I should be feeling appreciation for this thing, this other thing, And I'm really learning that you can be grateful for something happening and at the same time grieve something that didn't happen, the loss of something that you really wanted to happen. And I don't know, maybe it's a detour that I'm taking right now, but nonetheless, it's still there. It's still in my space, the sense of disappointment of something not happening. So I've been really playing with this idea of like, what else is showing up in my life in that way? What am I doing with this disappointment? How am I handling it? How am I facing it? And I'm finding myself going into a lot of blame, blaming the past, blaming people for, not participating and making what I wanted to happen, blaming my past so-called failures, blaming my past choices, blaming, my confidence, blaming. So I'm in this space of like really observing how I'm handling the sense of disappointment, and really putting all the that angst, or not the angst, I'm not feeling angst, but putting all the energy of disappointment out there, like, oh, it's because of this, or it's because of this person, or it's because, I didn't do enough, or, oh, I used to be this way, and, because I did this particular thing, it kind of like things didn't happen the way I wanted, so therefore I like stop trusting myself. Or I caught myself asking this question today, like, oh, what has so I quit my job. I'll share a little bit of the story. So in 2012, I quit my full-time job to do my healing practice, and I had this grandiose idea of how it was going to be, what was going to happen, how successful I was going to become. I was going to have this practice that was just kind of like, I would be known for, my gifts, and everybody would know me. I would be speaking on stages everywhere, and it didn't happen that way. And I caught myself in this space of like, I was very disappointed that it didn't happen the way I wanted. And so I blamed myself. I blamed, the fact that I quit my job without a plan. I blamed, my husband. I blamed everything. Like, I blamed all these external situations, when truly what the thing is, like, and I for a split second, I caught myself thinking, wait a minute, what about those books that I wrote? What about, the different opportunities that I had to be on a friend's podcast, and I had my own radio show. I started to look at all the different things that I accomplished since quitting my job. And because of one specific way of looking at what I didn't succeed in, I get stuck, right? I get stuck with that one thing, and I forget all the rest. I forget all the different amazing accomplishments I was able to create for myself, because of that one thing didn't happen. And it was kind of like an eye-opener. And so I grabbed this one book that I co-wrote, and I was reading my story in the book. And it's so interesting because I wrote that chapter in this book called Miracles, Momentum, and Manifestation, Unleashing the Secrets to the Life You Want to Live. And I was reading my own story, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the medicine. This is the message I need right now. Like my 7 year ago past self was writing something that I would need in the future, which is amazing, right? And reminding myself that just because one thing didn't go the way I wanted to go doesn't invalidate everything else, right? And so it was really cool for me to see how I deal with disappointments, and also how I also take the tools that I've learned along my path to come back home to myself. And that's the whole thing. It's like, when you're disappointed about something, it's okay. Like, I want to validate your feelings. I don't want you to feel ashamed that you're feeling the way you're feeling, if this is you, and to validate that, hey, you know what, maybe things are not happening the way you want it to, or fast enough, or whatever the situation is, right? Validating that it's okay to feel that grief, and it's okay to feel disappointment and upset around it. And at the same time, you don't have to, pick up and move over there, and create a residence over there. It means that you get to visit in that space. It means that you get to honor, the grief that comes with maybe not having things the way you want it to be. And at the same time, honoring that you do have all that you want and need within you to create the life that you want, and to call back your power, right? Because if you're kind of like doing the same thing that I've been doing, which is to blame the outside world for me not being where I want to be, or have the things I want to have, to kind of call that power back. Yes, I have the power to do what I want to do. Like, one of the things I really wanted to do that didn't happen was I wanted to move. I live in California. I wanted to move to a different state. I wanted to be able to have, my dream home. It's doesn't seem doable in California. I don't even want to be here necessarily. So it didn't kind of pan out the way I wanted, but something else amazing showed up. And, I'm kind of teetering between wanting, having gratitude for what showed up, and at the same time grieving the loss of what I wanted. And knowing within myself that if this is really what I want, if really I want to move, right, I will create the circumstances for it happening. The problem is I'm not trusting that capacity that I have within myself to do it. So I am putting the responsibility for what I want on somebody else's back, on either my husband's back or his company or whatever it was that didn't create my intention to manifest, right? I was counting on these different things, situations happening for what I want to happen the way I want it to happen. And so I was kind of like, in some ways, giving my power away to these external things instead of like really calling my power back and saying, okay, do I really want this? And if I do really want this, I know I can make it happen. And even sometimes like admitting to yourself that this is really what you want, it kind of puts you in the position where you now have to take action, right? And you may all of a sudden get scared. You may all of a sudden feel kind of like, ooh, do I really want that? You start to challenge yourself, and you start to ask yourself, like, because now you have to count on yourself to do what needs to be done. And sometimes that's kind of scary, because if you're holding on to past experiences of things that you tried that didn't work out, past failures, you may be holding yourself back from believing in your capacity today. Right? Whatever happened in the past is in the past. And I'm sure that if that was you, you've learned lessons along the way, right? That got you to where you are today. So believing in yourself, believing in your own power, believing in your own capacity, like really tapping into that self-belief that you have what it takes to make your dreams come true, right? That you have, even if it's not happening right away, even if you've been working on it for 5 years, and you're still going at it, I'm sure that if you were to look back at every step that you've taken, that you've moved forward. But if you're stuck in the present right now, that you're not where you want to be, you don't have the capacity to look how far you've come, right? So this is one great way to look at the past, is to really see how far you've come. And even if you had to take detours to get here. So I want to do some work with you today. And, I may or may not call the guides. I'm going to see how, I feel where this is going. But what I really want is to help you move the energy of the disappointment and what's holding you back from now continuing to go forward. So, and really calling your power back, right? Because if you can let go of what is blocking you from moving forward, and you're willing to reclaim your power, then you have a better chance of continuing on this journey, right? Regardless of the detours and the obstacles that arise, because that's what happens. We're human beings. It's always going to happen this way. So I'm going to invite you to just at this time, close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Just allowing for yourself to be here in this present moment. Allowing for your heart to come forward. To call yourself back to this present time. And knowing that you're safe to let your mind kind of go for now. So that you can be here, trusting your heart, trusting your soul, trusting your path, trusting yourself to do what needs to be done, trusting your power to do what needs to be done, trusting that you are resilient, that even through the disappointments, you can still move forward. You don't have to be held back by the past. You don't have to be held back by the disappointment. You don't have to be held back by your failures or perceived failures. You don't have to be held back by your experiences or the stories that you tell yourself or limitations or your limiting beliefs. And it's okay to honor the space that you're in right now without any shame, without any judgment, without any guilt. Knowing that if we can move this energy, that you have better ability to tap into what's already possible for you within yourself. So I'm going to actually start, I'm going to invoke, or not invoke, but I'm going to start with a prayer. So dear Mother, Father, God, Great Spirit of the universe, we come to you today with an open heart, open mind, to guide us on this path, that whatever it is that we need to release today, that we need to let go, transmute, alchemize, that we can do so, that we can call back our power, that we can tap back into that belief system that we have about ourselves, that we know that we can trust the process, that we can trust the journey, that we can trust ourselves to walk the path no matter what. We call upon the guides, the ancestors, the beings of light that are always here to support us on this journey. And calling in our higher self as well. That part of us that is wise, that knows. Calling that forward to support us in this moment. And we do so with gratitude. And we complete this by saying, and so it is. And so I'm going to start with some questions and move from there. So clearing some energy that may be stuck in your energy field, in your body, in your emotional body, in your mind, and see where we go. So everywhere you've been blaming, shaming, judging your past for not getting you, or you're blaming yourself really for not getting what you want, not creating the life that you want, not whatever it is that's in the way right now. Are you willing to transmute that, alchemize it, release it, let go? And if so, all you need to say is yes. Good. Every time you've been told that you will never amount to anything, that you are a failure, that you're stupid, that your dreams are lame, whether it was someone else in your life that you trusted, or even if it was you, are you willing to reclaim, resent, renounce all the times in your life where that was so? And everything that doesn't allow that, we'll release it. We'll destroy and uncreate it. Good. Every time you used shame and blame to keep you from choosing differently, to keep you from choosing yourself again, that keep you from choosing your dreams, that keep you from choosing your knowing and your awareness. Are you willing to release that? And everything that doesn't allow that, we release it now. Okay, good. Energy's moving. Wow, that was a big one. And everywhere you've been using shame, guilt, judgment, so that you don't have to repeat your past failures, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes again, so that you don't have to feel bad about your past choices. When you were so excited, when you thought you knew it all and you took all the actions and you fell flat on your face, and now you're scared. You're scared to do the same thing again. You're scared that that all those things that everything that you've done caused that to happen, and now you're scared that if you do the same thing, that if you trust yourself again, that you're going to fall flat on your face again. And you're so terrified of that happening. Are you willing to let that go? Good. Let it go. Let that energy transmute. I know, it hurts. I can feel the pain. I can feel your pain. I can feel the disappointment and feeling the hurt of dreams that didn't come to pass. And even more so, what I really feel is that there is this sense of, there was so much vibrancy in your life. There was so much that you wanted to do. There was so much that you believed you could do. It's almost like what you're really afraid of is of your own self. You're afraid of dreaming. You're afraid of believing in what's possible. Because maybe you've done this in the past. Maybe you jumped, head first. And instead of being embraced by the universe or the dreams or whatever, instead of being held and opening your wings, what you felt was, your head hitting the cement. And it was painful. And you don't want to experience the pain again. It's too much. Maybe you let people down in your life because you were so excited about whatever it was that you wanted to accomplish. And it didn't pan out, so you let people you love down. Maybe it was your spouse. Maybe it was your children. Maybe it was your parents. Maybe it was yourself. And so you're carrying this guilt and this shame like a backpack filled with rocks. And every time you think of taking a step forward, you do, and you may be taking steps forward, but the perimeters that you set for yourself are so narrow, so small that the steps that you're taking are just within that box. And you feel like you're going somewhere. So you're fooling yourself thinking you're going somewhere, but you're not willing to open that gate and walk past the perimeters, the barriers, because you don't know what's on the other side. You've tried it before, and when you open that gate, something uncomfortable was on the other side. And you don't want to make that same mistake again. You don't want to get hurt again. You don't want to be disappointed again. So you create these small disappointments because what you really want, what's so deep in your heart, in some ways feels so unachievable that you are scared. What if you try again and it doesn't happen again? So everything throughout your entire life that you've tried, that you walked past the gate and you didn't get what you wanted, you didn't have the dreams that fulfilled that you wanted, that disappointment hurt so bad. So let's clear the energy of the pain. So everywhere you've been holding on to that pain, and you don't want to experience it because the pain is in the body, right? The pain is somewhere in your body. And it's dormant, right? So you're afraid. Like you're afraid to awaken that pain again. You're afraid that something that you do might turn that pain up, the volume up on that pain. And no one likes to experience pain, right? It's uncomfortable. But more than uncomfortable is like the stories that we create about it. We create stories about ourselves. We create the stories that, we are just not good enough. We're just not worth it. We're just a piece of shit. We are just, not valuable, not worthy, not whatever the story is that you created about yourself because of that pain. Are you willing to let that pain, are you willing to let the energy of that pain go? Because that's what's being held in your body right now. You're storing an energy of pain that is becoming a stop. It's becoming like this stop sign in your life. That every time you move an inch forward, the stop sign comes up. Remember that pain? Remember how it hurt really bad? Remember how you start to feel about yourself? And you don't want to experience that again, right? So let's clear that energy. And this time I'm really calling in your being, your guides and your ancestors and your spirit team and your higher self to come here and help you release that. If you're willing to trust that you will be held, and you're willing to give that up, give that energy up to see what else is possible in your life. And if you are willing, then imagine yourself giving a box where your pain is contained in, and you're giving that to your spirit team. You're giving that to your ancestors to take, so that it can be transmuted, so that you can be free from it. And you're letting that go now. And I want you to breathe. And I want you to let the energy move through you. And everything that doesn't allow you to be with what is in this moment. Whatever it doesn't allow you to hand over that pain. If you're willing to let that go, because sometimes you still want to hold on to it because it serves a purpose. But if you're willing to let that go, I want you to give that box to your spirit team, to your ancestors. And everything that is still in the way of you doing that will now destroy and uncreate it. Good. And I want you to breathe. And feel the sense of relief. You may feel a little bit, maybe it's just minuscule, but I want you to feel in your body. See if there is a little bit of release. See if there's a place in your body where you've been holding on to tension, if that tension has subsided, or if it feels a little less. Great. And now, because this work is so deep, I want you to sit in this space for a little bit before we call back in the power. Because I want you to feel, this sense of maybe emptiness that you may be feeling. When you give something away, there's a hole there now. So whether it's emptiness or whether it's sadness or even relief or lightness, or you may be feeling a little bit of grief, I want you to just let yourself be with what is showing up for you. I don't want you to judge it. I don't want you to try to think about what it is or what's causing it or none of that. Just be an observer right now of what's showing up. It's not about fixing it. It's not about naming it. It's just about being with it. I'm going to invite you to bring your hands over your heart. And I'm going to invite you to say to yourself, I love you. I am sorry that in the past I may not have been able to fulfill these dreams. I am sorry that I have been disappointed in myself. I am sorry that I have judged myself so harshly for not being able to accomplish what I had set out to accomplish. I am so sorry that I have held on to this pain as a protection mechanism, as a coping mechanism for not wanting to experience disappointment again. And really thank yourself, thank that pain. Thank yourself for creating a boundary to protect you. You're amazing. That's how amazing you are. You know how to create boundaries for yourself to help protect you from pain. And now I want you to tell yourself, I am ready to see what else is possible. I am ready to explore what's outside of the gates. What lies beyond these boundaries, these perimeters that I had set for myself. And I trust myself. And I know I will never abandon myself again. And I'm open. And I'm just here to explore. I only have this one life. So why not see what else is possible, what else I'm capable of? And I've learned so many lessons through these experiences of disappointment and hurt. And I can take these lessons with me out into the world, beyond the gates. And I reclaim my power. Wherever I've been placing blame for my disappointments, for my perceived failures, I reclaim my power. I don't have to blame anything or anyone. It's okay, whatever happened, happened. And I reclaim myself. I activate the part of myself that is empowered to walk with me on this new path I'm taking, this new journey. And I love myself deeply for wanting to try again, for wanting to believe in myself again, for wanting to trust myself again. And so it is. Beloveds, you are amazing. And I know it's easy, it's kind of like lip service, right? It's easy to just be on the side of the screen and be like, you're amazing, you're fantastic, oh my God, it sounds so cliche. I know. I tell myself this quite often. And yet, I know that you're amazing because I know I'm amazing. And even through the pain, right? Even through the disappointment, I myself already feel better just by doing this exercise, right? So if I can see amazing in myself, I can see amazing in you. So this week, my invitation for you is to reclaim that power, right? To put one hand over your heart, one hand over your solar plexus, and breathe. Whenever you begin to blame yourself or blame the past or the situation, whatever it is, you're not doing enough or you're not where you are, where you want to be, I want you to put your hand over your heart, hand over your solar plexus, and breathe. And claim, I'm empowered. I have power within myself. And it's not really maybe about taking any action this week. Maybe it's just reclaiming and being with the energy of empowerment. You know, maybe the action comes next week, the week after. I don't know. Doesn't matter. If you feel ready to go, then great. But if all you need right now is just to be reminded of your power, then that's great too. So my prayer for you this week is that you know that you are loved. That it's okay to at times be disappointed, but to always believe that something else is possible for you, that your dream is possible, and that all it takes is courage, and all it takes is you saying yes again, you trusting yourself again, right? So, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you in this space and for doing this work with you. And I really hope that this has been helpful. And feel free to share this video. You know, there's so many people out there who are experiencing this right now. So this is free. This is just, you know, work that I do because I love doing this. And it's just something I want people to have access to. So, you know, gift this video, share this video with someone you know who could use this, this message, this encouragement, this healing energy work. Okay? I love you. Have a great week. Namaste.